about going into our pre-match routines here. Different athletes are going to need different things from their coaches, and one of the main things that's important to remember is that each athlete, you need to ask them specifically what they feel like they need. Whether you designate someone else to do that or yourself, but some athletes, for instance, like to be talked through their matches. Some athletes need to be asked vaguely, what they want, and they need to be left alone. So different athletes perform differently with different things. So it's important to ask them and have a plan going into each match so that they feel prepared from you as a coach, that you've done everything you can to prepare them to be ready for that championship performance. So I think it's important that as a coach that you're making sure that your athletes are staying hydrated up to a certain point and keeping their muscle glucose up. Okay, the storage of glucose in the muscles is known as muscle glycogen, and the immune system and the central nervous system run solely on glucose. So a lot of times you'll see your athletes in the middle of the season, they're getting sick, they just don't seem to be there, and a lot of times that's because their muscle glycogen or their storage of glucose in their muscles has gone down. And so it's really important that you make sure that they're getting a lot of carbohydrates throughout the season, whether they're complex or simple. As a wrestler, those are the #1 primary fuel sources is muscle glycogen or glucose, which is really important to monitor that through the season. Make sure your guys are getting plenty of carbs through the year and keeping their carbohydrate stores up. Staying hydrated is also really important for your immune system until the end. And so the way that I coach our athletes is to make sure that they're keeping a good amount of glycogen or carbohydrates in their system and staying hydrated as long as they can. Obviously that varies per athlete how much weight they're cutting, but I like them to be eating smaller proportions through the week and be getting close down to 2 to 4 pounds over the day before weigh-ins, and then that last little couple pounds is just dehydration, because you can rehydrate more quickly than you can put that glucose back into the muscles. So by this I mean that after a 1-hour weigh-in, you can get fluids back into you. You can drink more water than you can eat food during that time, and the uptake is much faster. So that last 2 to 4 pounds can be dehydration, but we don't want them to be dehydrated while they're training. We want them to train at a maximum intensity throughout the week, but then at the end they can dehydrate a little bit.